Hello, Aubrey. We have a fantastic episode today. What are we teaching our students?
Yes, we are going to tell you what is likely killing your reading and writing scores. We got a great question about this, and I
Yes.
know a lot of you out there are in the same boat. It's like, what exactly am I doing wrong? I can't quite put my finger on it.
Oh my gosh, because it's so hard to know, right? You
Yeah.
can't look at all of the pieces of what you're doing and be able to see the big picture of what's missing. And that's why we're here, guys. We're going to give you the two biggest killers for reading and then the two biggest killers for writing. But before we get to that, we want to share with you a recent poll that we did. We do Spotify polls for every episode, guys. If you're listening to Spotify, please answer the poll. We'll share the question at the end of today's episode. But what was a recent poll and the results?
Yes, this was from episode 1422. We asked, are you funny? I was so excited to see the results, and it was yes, 70%. 70% of you out there know that you're funny.
Love it.
And then no was 30%, which was higher than I
Me
expected,
too.
actually.
Yeah. I was
But
very interested to see that though. But guys, do go back and listen to that episode, IELTS Energy 1422, How to Be Funny on IELTS Speaking. It is a gem. Don't miss that one.
yes, exactly. And we will have a new Spotify poll at the end of the episode. So stay tuned so you hear what it is. And yes, if you're listening in Spotify, come answer the poll. We want to hear from you.
You could do it while you're listening, even.
Yes.
All right, Aubrey, can you read the student's question, please?
Yes, they said recently I got 6 bands in IELTS. I left no stone unturned, but I could only score 7 bands. I want to know what factors play a significant role in killing our score in IELTS reading and writing. And tell me, is it okay for increasing reading ability to read more and more? Oh, this is an excellent question.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, so it seems like the student is stuck at a 6 and reading and writing are the two biggest challenges here. So we're going to help this student out here, but I want to point out a phrase that the student said, leave no stone unturned. I love it because, first of all, great job using that phrase, that idiom in your question. But also, that's like the opposite of the vocabulary we taught on Tuesday in the very last episode, guys. So, last time we talked about phrasal verbs for discovering things accidentally, right? Which is basically the opposite of leave no stone unturned. When you leave no stone unturned, you are searching and looking everywhere, doing everything you can to get an answer or to get a result. So that really is the opposite of like find accidentally, you know?
That's true, right? It means to put a lot of effort in to look for something or to do something. We know that you guys out there listening, just by virtue of listening to this podcast, you are leaving no stone unturned
Yeah.
in your IELTS study. So, first of all, congrats, you're doing the right thing. You're on the right track. But you likely are, if you're not getting the scores you want when you're taking reading exams, when you're practicing, you might be in the same boat. You're like,
Yeah.
what is it that's killing my score?
Totally. So we have a lot of experience here, guys. So let's get to it. The two most common things that kill reading scores. The first is not understanding the specific question types, right? There are question types on IELTS that are unique to IELTS. If you don't prepare, if you don't learn strategies for these unique question types, it will seem nearly impossible to get the answers. Even when you look at what the right answers are, you're like, why? I don't even understand
Right.
this. So, the three question types that cause the most issues like this: true, false, not given, and yes, no, not given, matching headings to paragraphs, and finding information in paragraphs. All three of those are completely different than each other, guys, and they have their unique set of strategies.
Yes. And if you don't have those strategies, these questions will just take you far too long. If you're just reading too much, trying to figure out the answers, you need strategies to save you time so that it can take you 1 minute or less for each question on the reading exam.
That's an excellent point. I'm glad you brought that up because that is the goal, guys. You need to be um, spending a minute or less finding each answer, okay, in order to finish on time. And that brings us to the second thing that's killing reading scores is simply not finishing, right? I mean, so many students have a lot of blanks when that hour runs out, guys. If you are running out of time and not answering all the questions, or maybe just guessing a bunch at the end because you're running out of time, we have some suggestions for you. Okay. So, first of all, you might be doing this because you simply don't have a set of strategies to follow, right? And that leads to reading too much. It's wasting time. I've seen students do this on the exam. Students will be stuck on one question and they're reading the same paragraph like 5 times to get one
Yes.
answer, right? You
And that
can't do
happens to
that.
all of us if we're reading something that is not super gripping, which a lot
Sure.
of what is on the IELTS reading exam might be a little boring to read. If your mind is wandering, then you find yourself reading the same paragraph over and over.
Yeah.
If you are being systematic with strategies and you know the words you are looking for, you've identified keywords, then you're a more active reader. You have tasks to do while you're reading, and that will
Right.
they'll avoid doing that.
Yeah, because this lack of strategy, this lack of time management, picture it, guys. It's like you're just like waiting for the answers to come to you. You're waiting for the
Right.
answers to like magically jump out of the passage at you, right? And it doesn't work that way. Maybe a couple questions that ask for like a name or a number because that's easy to find, but most of the questions will not jump out at you like that. So you really need to have a system of strategies and practice these strategies a bunch of times before test day. All right, let's get to writing. Now, Aubrey's kind of the expert here because she created a mini course, a mini IELTS course called Score Killers. And it is fantastic, by the way. So, Aubrey, I'm going to let you take it away here.
Awesome. Yes, I graded and analyzed a lot of essays to try and find out the main things that were really lowering student scores. And the first one, it comes to down to really not understanding what is required by the task response or the
Mhm.
task achievement score. So it's not really just one thing. There are a few things that are required here, right? And it
Yeah,
depends on the essay as well. So, for example, academic task one, you have to have an overall trend. You have to describe the most important numbers. And if you don't know that, if you don't really understand the scoring system, and then you just start writing the essay, you're probably going to get a low task achievement score.
yeah, because here's the thing. If you don't have an overall trend, or you think you have an overall trend, but it's actually not an overall trend, the highest you can get for task is 5, right? It
Right.
automatically, that one sentence automatically lowers your score.
Yeah. And then for the general task one essay, you have to have 2 details per bullet point.
Yeah.
If you don't, again, you're going to get a low task achievement score. And this
Mhm.
just wrecks your overall score. Whereas if you just understand what the scoring system is really looking for, what the
Right.
examiner is looking for in your
Right.
essay, very doable to get a high task achievement score. And then the task response score for task two. What are we seeing students often mistake here, Jessica?
In task two, a lot of students are looking at this like pure academic writing, right? And in
Right.
real, true academic writing, we don't give our personal opinions. We don't say, I feel blah, blah, blah. But in IELTS, guys, you have to give your personal strong position throughout the essay. And if you don't, it really does kill that task response score.
Yeah. All right. And then number two is your cohesion coherence score.
Hmm.
So, first of all, a lot of students don't realize that you have to link your ideas. You've got to use these transition phrases, and you can't use just then, next, or repeat them. You need a variety of formal linking phrases for your task two essay. And you have to include these in all of the essays we've discussed here, your task one academic essay, your task one general letter. All of these have to have these linking phrases.
And really the hardest place to put linking phrases in is the general training informal letter. And a lot of students don't
Yes.
realize that they have to do that, right? So, a couple weeks ago, we talked about the introduction for the problem solution essay. We talked about that last week, guys. And we mentioned that you have to include your opinion in there, right? Because doesn't matter what kind of essay you're writing, you're graded on the same thing. And the same advice applies to the general letters. Doesn't matter if it's informal or formal. Doesn't matter what the question is, guys. You are graded on the same things. You still have to have transition phrases.
Exactly. And then the other thing we're seeing that's hurting this cohesion coherence score is having too many ideas with no examples.
Yeah,
So this is a problem.
that's
If
a
you've got
common
lots
one.
and lots of reasons, lots of ideas, but no support, no supporting details, examples, a lot of students do this. If you're thinking, oh, shoot, I just wrote an essay and I know I did that, you're not alone. This is very common.
Yeah, and it not only kills the cohesion coherence score because it's not organized, it's not logical, but that also kills the task score, guys. It kills two
Right.
scores. So that one's really
Yes.
important. All right, let's summarize what our students need to take away today, Aubrey. What do they need to remember about reading?
All right, you have to have strategies for the individual specific question types. You need to know when you see a yes, no, not given, exactly what to do to save time and to make sure you get those questions right. And you need to make sure that you can complete the entire reading test in the time you have.
Exactly. And for writing, guys, um, you got to know what you're scored on. What is the examiner looking for? The task response or task achievement scores are very particular, right? So for task one, you got to have that overall trend. In the letter, you have to have details. Two details for every bullet point. And then also the cohesion coherence score is tough to figure out sometimes. You have to have a wide variety of linking words in every letter slash essay. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us today. And remember, all of this advice and more, everything you need to increase to a 7 or higher is in our course. So go check it out. allearsenglish.com/KEYS.
Yes, and don't forget to answer the Spotify poll this week. It is, are you leaving no stone unturned in your IELTS study? We hope you all say yes. This can be a motivator. Yes, I am doing everything I can.
I love it. I love it. All right. Answer that Spotify poll, guys, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.